It is interesting when it comes to the topic of life. Growing up, I was always told that you can't put a value or a price on life, or it's irreplaceable. And although that's true, many people seem to have different opinions on life in general. When does it start? Is it acceptable to take a life? Is it worth living or keeping someone alive? Topics such as suicide, euthanasia. Uh, but in my ethics class, I learned a lot on the value of life, and it kind of made me question it a little bit more myself. So today, I would like to discuss my viewpoints on life and specific ethical dilemmas, specifically that of abortion and the death penalty. So, abortion, according to dictionary.com, is the removal of an embryo or fetus from the uterus in order to end a pregnancy. For someone who's pro life, abortion is wrong because it is the ending of life or potential life of a human being. But where pro choice would be that of it being the person's body or the female body and choosing to carry it. And there are a lot of arguments that went into it. One such case uh, was that of Marley Munoz. She was 14 weeks pregnant when she was considered brain dead, and it brought a lot of issues, especially since it was in the state of Texas and they didn't allow that. This brought up a lot of other questions or a lot of other discussions within my ethics class. And the reason I even bring this up was based on particular viewpoints. Several people claim to be pro life, claiming that abortion was wrong. And up to a certain point, I do agree with that. I feel like after a baby is developed or a fetus is developed into a certain point in life or stage of the development, then it would be wrong. But that is all just personal. It was, however, stated by a particular student that life starts at the cellular level. I really wish I could have pointed out that masturbation would have been the cellular level, and therefore that would have been just as critical or as dangerous as abortion, which could be within a religious view, showing it to be wrong. But I am slightly straying off course. The reason I brought that up was because the said individual pointed out that life starts here, claiming to be pro life. When it came to Marley Munoz, although the baby was already in development, you never knew where that life was going to be or if they would have even been alive. So that is kind of one of those ethical dilemmas in regards to pro-life, because you don't know where it actually begins. But speaking of where life begins, you can also go to where life ends, which brings me to my next point, the topic of the death penalty. And the death penalty is, a lack of better words, a punishment of death for inmates who were found guilty of major crimes, uh, mass murder, maybe some kind of psychological issues to where they can't release them. But this is a lot of different viewpoints, ranging from it being terrible, the worst thing in the world, to being the best thing in the legal system. And although both sides do have a lot of good points, there are particular reasons why I chose this one as well. One issue specifically with that is that not all individuals found guilty are guilty, and they are put to death by the death penalty, uh, which is one of the major issues in regards to ending it. However, there are situations to where we keep someone alive, and there's no way to keep them from continuing or from stopping a murder spree or doing these terrible things. And there could be any particular excuse. There could be a lot of uh, different reasons behind it, but it comes down to that ending of life. Now, the reason I mentioned the discussion from class in the abortion topic, the same student who claimed to be pro-life, stating that it was all at the cellular level, uh, claimed that he was pro-death penalty, which at the same time kind of goes against the abortion. or it goes against being pro-life or abortion, being that pro-life is that of, you know, conserving life, protecting life. I feel like when it comes to that, it is a matter of misunderstanding or lack of understanding with life, which then, you know, goes to me stating again the questioning on life or the value of life. Where do we cross the line that says this is okay, but this isn't? But now, because of that, some things seem right, some things seem wrong, such as my opinion in regards to abortion shouldn't be allowed after 6 months, maybe even potentially 5. But the death penalty, although some people find that is a great thing, there are reasons to find that it's wrong. At this point, we would see it as the revisionist viewpoint, which is that it doesn't mean that someone does or does not agree with a particular viewpoint or a particular thing, such as the topic of execution or the death penalty. But we believe that there is good to it, but also some bad, and we need to revise said rule. And that's where I personally stand. I like to claim myself as a revisionist viewpoint simply because I have particular opinions, and I feel those opinions are because how I view life. I do value life, but I do realize that there are points to where, you know, is it really worth that, or is it even life? Such as Marla Munoz, who was considered brain dead. She is physically alive, but the term brain dead kind of states there's no quality of life. Or even her child that was in development. It was before the 5 months, which, again, personal opinion, but even in the interview with the husband, who was a paramedic, states that there was no way of knowing how long the child would live, if at all. But I guess I'd like to say, in conclusion to what this is, when it comes to life, it is always difficult to say what is right or wrong, especially when everyone has different opinions. But with my opinion, I feel it is morally wrong if life isn't taken into consideration when it comes to the decision being made. If it comes to mass murder, if life isn't taken into consideration there, and that is morally wrong. When it comes to the abortion, or someone being brain dead, that's affecting somebody else's life. Is there something right or wrong there? But these thoughts and feelings are what make up ethics, or what we have for ethics, which, in my opinion, makes us human. And although we're not perfect, and the ethics aren't necessarily perfect, it's a lot of what drives us, and it is a lot of what makes us who we are. And that's kind of why I find ethics a lot more important than I thought it would be when I started this class. Thank you.